10 years ago, when I was 8, me 8, smaller, fatter, and puffy cheeks, I was interested in this game that I really, really liked. And I really wanted to play it, but I couldn't because of the poor performance of my computer at the time. So I was 8, younger, fatter, puffy cheeks, and I had a lot of time on my hands. And because technology was so accessible to me, I could actually do a little research and know, how can I make my computer more performant in order to play the game? This is the story of how I actually became interested in technology. And I had a lot of coding courses available. Technology was super at hand to all of us. And this is how I learned how to code. I became part of this vibrant community of people that were also in my situation. I would go on Saturdays there. People were volunteering to teach other kids programming. I would see people playing games that you could only play if you knew how to code. There were kids saying, hey, let's race with our robots. So they were seeing it as a game. They were building robots to race each other. That was fantastic because I belong to that generation, and we grew older. We started participating in international competitions, in all kinds of events. One of the last competitions I went to was this space robotics competition in Boston. And we obtained the second place there. It was a competition done by NASA and MIT. And from this little boy who was, oopsie, not this one. That's me on the right. From that boy who was playing with robots, trying to, race each other, I actually became part of this team with which I won the second place in a competition in Boston, in NASA. And it was very, very cool because we believed that all our lives were going to be about technology, about coding, about stuff like this. But then, 3 years ago, when I was 15, a friend of mine came to me and said, hey, do you want to be part of this new free biotech club in the city? They teach kids like you and me why is genetics important, for instance, in diseases, how drugs work, people present the latest news in terms of science. She was so excited. And I said, nah, I'm more of a tech guy. I wouldn't blend in. And she said, they have free pizza. And I said, okay, let's go. And I became part of this other community where people were volunteering to teach other kids, basically, science. They were presenting it in a very interesting way for us. There were, of course, little games. There were people drawing on whiteboard cells and explaining to, let's say, 7-year-olds how a cell works using metaphors and jokes and games and funny stuff like Kahoot. On other sides, you could see people looking through a microscope and being super excited that they found a bacteria in a sample that they took from a pond or whatever, kids. But then we started forming teams again, and we started participating in small research projects, going to international competitions again, but this time with biotech. And the last competition we went to was actually in Moscow, in Russia. It was based on genetic editing. So we, as 16-year-olds or 15-year-olds, we could actually learn how to repair mutations in our DNA that cause diseases. And this was very new to us, very cool to us. We were also having fun, but we were also doing research, and we would know all these things that would prepare us for what was about to happen. After we came home from Russia as winners, we were invited to do research in the research institute in Timișoara called Oncogen. And from people sitting at the table doing stuff that a professional would not approve with, we went to actually doing research. We are now doing our own research projects. We have worked so far with COVID, trying to detect viruses more accurately. I'm hoping to go further into cancer diagnosis. I'm dreaming of starting a startup someday. Only because I had great access to science. And I believe that that is amazing and that is very achievable to all of us. Looking back on all this, I can talk about something. First, pizza is a great way to get kids to go wherever you want them to go. Second, I could do a small comparison between technology and science. We have so much access to technology. We play on our phones, on laptops, on tablets. Kids play on their phones all day. And I believe that because we have such high accessibility to technology, we have the rapid technological advancement that we see today. Imagine 20 years ago, let's say, a person playing on their computer and saying, hey, this internet thing, I like it. I think I could do it better. Maybe now they're working in 5G telecommunications. Imagine me when I was 8 years old, playing on a computer, wanting so bad to play something that I became interested in coding. Imagine someone playing on their phone right now and saying, hey, I could do this, I don't know, Candy Crush thing better someday, or I could do a better phone than this. Where would that person be in 10, 20, 30 years from now? And where will we be because of them? But with science, we don't have that, do we? It's very difficult to imagine someone, a kid, looking at a documentary about medical devices and saying, hey, I want to become a researcher and do these devices better and improve them because I feel this, I find passion within myself. No, or it's very rare very difficult to imagine. But I say let's do that. Let's make science more accessible. Let's bring science closer to people and see what happens in 10, 20 years if we involve the youth right now. Where will we be in 10, 20, 30 years from now? So we decided to take action, and we did, the kids that have been through this, and with the support of the local community, we created initiatives like Biocoder Dojo, Biomentor Hub, and young researcher programs, where kids and young adults, because everyone wants to join apparently, so I think it's a pretty good thing for us. They join they meet specialists and they exchange ideas. They learn and they study more about science, about biotech, about genetics, drugs, all these complicated things. And they can actually apply what they learn in small research projects or, I don't know, do something fun, make a bacteria glow in the dark. Which sounds dangerous, but I promise it isn't. But why would you care about this? I appear here, I say all these things, but why would you care? I told you I only went to that club because of free pizza, but I don't think that we can all get free pizza to be interested in this. I believe that, for instance, the day we make science more accessible is the day that we get closer to a dear future that I like to imagine. It is a future that I would like you all to imagine, actually, where researchers found treatments or find preventive treatments for some diseases that we struggle so much with these days. I believe that the day we make science more accessible is the day when we get closer to saying, oh, it's just Alzheimer's, you take a pill, you have a vaccine for it, it's all right. Oh, it's just cancer, don't worry, it's totally treatable. I really believe that the day we make science more accessible is the day that we get closer to, oh, it's just cancer. So why don't we try it? I say let's try it. Let's make science more accessible. Let's bring science closer to people. Let's demythize it. And because I believe that because I believe that making science more accessible is the road to, oh, it's just cancer, I would like you all to think about it and see, maybe, one day, what if we get closer to that future when we won't fear diseases anymore, when we could prevent them, only with such a small thing like involving the youth into science, which on a larger scale, it's nothing. Join me into this. Let's get to, oh, it's just cancer. Thank you.